Our spot for a smorgasbord of information from RecallGavin2020.com in a tasty, non-caloric, gluten-free bite. It's Friday night at the French Laundry with Chef Orrin Heatley, maitre d' Mike Netter, and head cashier Randy Economy.
All the leaves are brown. And the sky is gray.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Friday Nights at the French Laundry, our virtual restaurant where it's all about California politics, and the main entree is always the recall of Governor Gavin Newsom. I'm especially fired up tonight, and I'll explain that in 1 second, but I want to welcome in as your head maitre d', our chef Orrin Heatley, and the cashier Randy Economy. Orrin, how the heck are you tonight?
Woo! It's showtime.
It is showtime, my friend.
Glad to be here, folks. Glad to be here.
Now, I want to warn everybody tonight that Orrin has a lot of things cooking, and I'll explain what this means in a second. But for everybody out there, we are the voice of the people, and we make the menu about what you want. But please, tonight, do not order meal number 663. We'll get to that in 1 second. Randy, how are you doing tonight? Randy? Well,
Hey, guys.
hey, Randy,
I'm
how the
here.
heck are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Hey, I just wanted to let you know that I saw some guy trying to run out on a check. And, nobody runs out on a check from when they owe money to recallgavin2020.com. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that we hold everybody accountable and hold our feet to the fire. And let's get this party started.
That's actually a good lead-in for one of the things we want to talk about tonight. Folks, we are a listener-sponsored show, and I want to make that clear. And to keep this show going, to remain the voice of the people, Recall Gavin 2020 needs your donations. We are a listener-sponsored show. In addition, tonight, we're announcing something new. We want to help businesses out there exchange using this radio show as your voice, your platform to advertise your business. And starting tonight, we're kicking off a special program. We call it a block within a block, where you're going to have the ability to, for a fee, go in on the block and help us sponsor the show and get the word out about your business and about your views. To hook up with us, I'm going to hand out a special number. That number is 626-506-0292. Now, let's be clear. That's not the number to call into the radio station. That's the number that you can call me during the week and arrange to help us sponsor the show and make sure your business has a voice out there in the community. And Warren, what is the number to call in for the radio show?
1-800.
222.
5222.
Now, as we get started,
What was that other number you gave out, Mike?
the other number I gave out to help buy a block within a block, as we're calling it, is 626-506-0292. That's to help do an exchange to keep this listener-sponsored radio show going into May. Now, if you can't remember that because you're driving or you're like me, you don't have a good memory, just email us when you donate by going to recallgavin2020.com. And when you email us at info, we will get right back to you. But I want to start with something that really upset me today. And gents, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, but I'm going to let you,
I find it absolutely disgusting and appalling with all the issues that the state of California have, all the reasons to recall Gavin Newsom. The state legislature actually put out a bill. They have a bill on the table right now, number 663. That's why I told you not to order that meal, because the state is trying to order up making people that signed recalls transparent, so the officials that are being recalled can know who you are. They've actually gone to intimidation tactics. Now, I understand that's a vital bill, maybe not to protect their jobs, but of all the things happening in the state, do you think this is possibly stimulated by the recall of Gavin Newsom, Warren?
Monday morning, people throughout the state can join me at the state capitol. I'll be there at 8:30. They're having a hearing
about SB 663, authored by Josh Newman. Josh Newman, I think he's in the 29th district or somewhere down there.
Wherever district is in, he doesn't belong there.
He was.
Yeah, he's in Orange County, Fullerton area.
He was recalled and removed and replaced. I think the person that replaced him was named Ying Ying, and Ying Ying served out the rest of his term. But then Mr. Newman went back into office. He regained his seat during the general election, and since then he's kind of taken it under his wing to do as much damage to the recall process as he possibly can through authoring these bills. And we all know this governor is just he's a robo signer. He just signs anything that comes across his desk without looking at it, and people have suffered as a result of that.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous that Gavin Newsom spends all his time calling people in the recall names, but doesn't have the time to fix so much in the state that we want to talk about. But all of a sudden, they're very interested in the recall process. Randy, don't you find that quite fascinating?
Mike, you can't change the rules in the middle of the game. I mean, if we were to go ahead and be playing professional basketball right now, and some referee going up and said, "Stop! We have a rule change." It's not going to go over too well with both teams. And I see what Gavin Newsom's doing. He's obsessed on trying to change the dynamics of the playing field any way he can with with the control that he has, his absolute control and stranglehold on this state and this state legislature on both parties, whether it be and both houses, whether it be the assembly or the state senate. I mean, he's got a stranglehold on him, and they just all march lockstep with him. And we're not going to tolerate it. We can't tolerate it.
We cannot allow that to happen. And again, this Monday, I'll be out at the Capitol. I'll be at the west steps of the Capitol around 8:30ish. You can park on P Street by the Capitol, and join us for a peaceful protest. We're going to peacefully voice our opposition to this. But Mike, I wanted to say one more thing. As donations come in, if people would like to donate to help support this listener-funded show to keep it going, because it is quite expensive, but it is extremely valuable. It's what we call infotainment, and it helps us spread the word and get the information across to the public in an entertaining way, in an enlightening way. And whenever you hear this, that's order up. That means we've received a donation. And tonight, if we receive donations during the show, then we'll read your first name, just your first name, and we'll give that appreciation out over the show as we go forward. So right.
Please go to recallgavin2020.com. But I also want to say there's some good members, but way too few in the state legislature. And as we move forward, we want to try to bring you, and tonight we have some of the great members who are fighting for you every day in an uphill battle. That's another reason that it's not just Gavin Newsom. People like Josh Newman and many of these other legislatures seem to care more about their jobs. But tonight on our show, we have James Gallagher, the other half of the Gallagher-Kiley duo, if you will, who filed a court against Gavin Newsom. And we have Melissa Melendez. We have a state assemblyman and a state senator, both who are fighting for you. And we want you to hear what they have to say. Because it's
both
time, California,
American
we got
heroes.
those voices out. Go ahead, Oren.
I'm just saying, both true American heroes.
True American heroes, people we know and people that are fighting for you like we fought in the recall. And on April 17th, when that count comes out, it's interesting, Gavin, to hear that all you have is name calling, but we're going to call you some names back like I'm starting to think you're anti-Californian. Forget all these other things. Why don't you pay attention to your damn job and quit paying attention to everybody keeping their job and to politics and stop telling us how much money you raised me. Don't stop the recall. How about we stop Gavin? Listen, I'd like to go right now to Sue from Hesperia. We've got 1 minute left. Sue, how are you doing tonight? Sue?
Hi, it's Magdalena. How y'all doing?
Oh, Magdalena, how are you doing?
It's Magdalena. Fine. Okay, I get a minute. Okay, cool. I just want to thank you all for all your support, what you're doing. We got to get rid of Gavin and a couple other folks. I mean, really, he's just acting like a jerk because he knows the dig is up. He wants to open up all California now by June 15th. I mean, please, really, this is just him. You know what this is about. He's just trying to look good. You all know this, though. He passed all this legislation without even asking his own legislation people. That he would just pass things. He would go above everybody's head. He don't care. He don't care about nobody but himself. He's trying to be king.
Absolutely, Magdalena, and it's time his executive order stopped. That's a good lead into James Gallagher up to be our next guest. Listen, everybody out there, help us. Help save the state. This is Friday Nights at the French Laundry, KABC, all over California. Please call in, donate to recallgavin2020.com, take a place at our block in block advertising program, and call in at 1-800-222-5222. Thank you very much. Let's take our state back.
To us, we are the leaders. Voters can't be trusted to be indoor eaters. They are more contagious after all, they're mouth breathers.
KABC dependable traffic right now in West LA on the 405 southbound. Once you get to Santa Monica Boulevard, you'll see some stop and go traffic that starts to clear up. Once you get to Sepulveda Boulevard, things are looking up for you in downtown LA on the 110 southbound just before Olympic Boulevard. An earlier wreck in the middle lane has been moved over to the right shoulder. Traffic is recovering from Sunset Boulevard, and it's a busy drive for you in Hollywood if you're traveling along the 101 southbound coming across Western Avenue. That'll start to clear up for you once you get to the 110. And some good news in commerce on the 5 northbound after Atlantic Boulevard. CHP has moved a crash out of lanes and traffic is recovering from about Garfield Avenue.
Healthcare needs competent, passionate leaders of moral courage. That's why the University of Mary offers a portfolio of truly affordable, flexible, and formative programs to start or advance your health sciences career. Choose a bachelor's, master's, or doctoral program in an online, in-person, or through a blended format that meets your needs and fits your schedule. Earn your degree at the nation's most affordable Catholic university. Begin your journey at umary.edu/faithful.
With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, banking with Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids.
Yep, even easier than that. And with our top-rated app, you can bank anytime, anywhere, making Capital One an even easier decision.
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
New consumer accounts only. Approval required. Terms apply. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
The 25K weekday payday on AM 790 KABC is back.
Ka-ching.
Listen for the national keyword between 8 and 6 for your shot at $100 and possibly much more. 25,000 more. Full rules at KABC.com. You've only had an appetizer. This is your Friday night at the French Laundry with Chef Orrin Heatley, maitre d' Mike Netter, and head cashier Randy Economy.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to Friday Nights at the French Laundry. We're waiting for James to call in. We've got a little bit trouble getting the whole of him here. But in the meantime, again, we want to remind everybody we're listener-sponsored and we're extremely ticked off. We need to keep this voice going for so many reasons. Randy.
Yeah.
How do you really feel about just the fact with everything going on, they would even propose a bill like this, like 668? I mean...
Well, you remember, I mean, a couple of months ago, they decided to do a bill by Bob Hertzberg, Senator Hertzberg, and some of the other, Senator Tom Umberg, in regards to saying that we're just going to have all mail-in ballots for now because, you know, we can't have the threat of COVID for people to showing up to a polling place. So this is not out of the norm. It's to be expected, but it's wrong, and you cannot.
Well, that actually went through, and that's law.
It is law now, and that's outrageous.
SB 29.
You know what I find so blatantly transparent, that the bad members of the legislature and the state are just basically trying to keep the people from exercising their right? In this law, you guys ready for this? It says, unless the number of registered voters of the recall is less than 50,000. How flippin' transparent is that? The fact that, the little guys, we're not worried about them, but we're worried about our jobs. We're not worried about the people of California. And by the way, if we don't like what you think, we might initiate a recall ourselves on the people that start small and want to get in the legislature. This is why and Randy, you sent a great article this week from the Washington Post that talked about, even the Post says California has become one two-sided. The Washington Post.
Yeah. No, it's farcical.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Sue from Hesperia, let's jump to you right now before James comes on here. Sue, how are you doing tonight? You're one of my favorite people in Hesperia.
Well, I really appreciate that, and I appreciate you Three Musketeers doing all the hard work that you've been doing.
Well, thanks for being on the air with us. I know that it's a delight. You did so much hard work in the recall. Sue has a lot of stories, a lot of which we won't tell you on the air necessarily. But what I mean is she really was working every day. When I started talking, you can go out and collect signatures. And Sue, I know there might be a couple things you want to talk about tonight before we bring our guest on. So tell me what they might be.
Yeah, some of those will have to be a story for another day. But I don't know why you're giving Gavin such a hard time. We should thank him. Because of him, I lost my job, so that gave me so much time on my hands to go and collect about, 3,000 or 4,000 signatures. And, the few people that said, no, thanks, I think he's doing a great job, I said, oh, really? Please tell me, what's your favorite thing about him? And they would never give me anything specific. They would say, well, he's just doing a good job. And that was the end of that. And I just said, okay, well, you have a great day, but there's never been a good answer that was given to me about why people would not sign the recall to get him out of office.
Sue, one of the things I've always liked, and I want to hand it to you on, is you're one of the people that really in depth went into a lot of good questions with me on Messenger and text. Sue questioned everything. You really were on top of it, the whole recall. And a lot of volunteers were and still are, not to take anything away from them. But Sue, you always seemed to go a little bit deeper in the story like we do on this show.
Well, like I said, I was forced to lose a job, so that gave me so much time on my hands. I never voted before this. But boy, did I have a eye-opener getting involved with this recall, and I'm so grateful that I did. And by the way, not that his winery ever closed, but because it never did. So how fair is that? I mean, seriously?
Hey, you know what, Sue? There's the other thing, too, is there's also the fear of the unknown. And I think sometimes people get leery about the big R, the big recall, in regards to, I know what we got with Gavin, but what are we going to get if the recall goes through? And, that's not up for us to determine, but I got to tell you, man, this is a historic campaign because almost 2.2 million Californians signed this recall petition to make this thing possible. So it's not about, Gavin all the time. It's about replacing him with the voters' choice. And we can't control that narrative. But what we can control is to make sure that every single one of the people here in California vote on this recall. Vote yes, vote yes, vote yes.
There are several people that would not sign the recall because they could not. They said, if we lived in your state, we would, and they were from out of state. But even the people from out of state know how horrible he is.
And I want to tell you something else about Sue, too. And Sue, look, unlike Gavin Newsom, and unlike a lot of these people trying to run our state with our money, I'm going to be blunt, we don't have a lot of money, which is why we always say contribute to recall Gavin Newsom 2020.com. And Sue is not infinitely wealthy. Is that a fair way to describe you, Sue?
That's correct.
Okay. On her own dime, Sue from Hesperia not only drove all over the state, she literally drove to participate just to meet us. And I was really amazed by that, all the way from Hesperia to Ventura just to participate and hand off petitions and signatures. And I want to tell you on the air, Sue, how much we really appreciate that.
Well, I really appreciate it. I've learned a lot from the three of you and everything that's been going on. And though I had a lot of questions, every single one of them got answered, and I'm so thankful for that.
I'm beyond words. Sue, thank you very, very much. Please help us continue the fight. Orrin, Sue will be talking to you soon. Orrin, you just rang the bell there.
I did. Order up. I just want to say that Nancy in San Francisco, thank you so much for your generous donation. And that just goes to show you, Mike, we have a statewide show. We're airing right now live in Los Angeles, but people can listen live on KABC.com anywhere they are in the country or the world. So we have people up and down the state tuning in, and we're so glad to have you guys join us. And Nancy, thank you so much for your donation.
Remember, too, that we're trying to sell tonight blocks within a blocks to keep the show going up. So text or call 626-506-0292. And until James comes on, we're having trouble hooking up with him. Listen to that ding. It's like every time an angel gets their wings here. There's something else we're going to talk about.
It absolutely is. And I just want to jump in. The people are answering the ring of the bell. Jack, thank you so much from Fresno. God bless. A very generous donation. We really appreciate that. It's going to help keep the lights on. Then we have Judith from Fresno as well. Thank you again. That's going to help us keep the lights on, keep everything moving. And then we have a good friend of the show who Randy and I are very familiar with, Miss Susan Walsh in Roseville. God bless you. Thank you very much. All of you guys, very generous donations. You're helping move this needle forward, the ball closer to the goal line, and helping, get this thing done, because this is absolutely critical to what we're doing, and we're moving forward. It's a lot of fun, and you guys are able to participate to help fund the fight as we go forward, because the opposition has opened their war chest and have launched attacks against our team and, the recall itself, and we need to fight back. But every fight requires funding, and this is what you guys are helping to achieve.
Hey, you know what else, Orrin, is, there's a lot of great members of the California state legislature who are members of the Republican Party, and we were really excited a couple weeks ago when one of our favorite assembly members and lawmakers in California, Kevin Kiley, gave us a check for a donation for, $10,000? Was that the amount Kevin gave us?
Absolutely. He did indeed, and that was from the proceeds of his wonderful book that he's going around the state promoting. And
so here's the challenge I think we have. If you are a member of the legislature, especially if you're one of our Republican friends, this is the time for you to dip into your individual campaign war chest and to send a donation to Recall Gavin 2020. And I think if we challenge every legislator in Sacramento to do their job and to take the clue and take the lead from and take the example from Kevin Kiley, we will be so forever grateful. And I know that they're involved in other types of political action committees and things like that, helping the cause, which I think everybody's very appreciative of. But now we need to be the beneficiary of the great works that we have been doing, and to make sure that everybody does their part up in Sacramento and then throughout other elected officials throughout California, whether you be a local member of a board of supervisors or a district attorney out here in any part of California. If you have the ability to be able to have money that you raise on behalf of your own political ambitions and your own political causes, you got to go ahead and you got to give some money here to us. And it's only fair and it's only right.
I have
so
to
I'm making
say
that plea.
One of our guests tonight, Miss Melissa Melendez, has also chipped in and helped us fund this fight.
And we're going to have her next as we roll on to about a minute left. And I want to say this, too. There's a lot of reasons to fund the fight in California. One of the things we're going to get to in the 8 o'clock hour, please stay tuned, is an article that Aaron Mendelson wrote about the nursing home crisis. And it's a lot deeper than you think. Why the Democrats talk about defending feeding everybody and helping them out. They're just helping themselves. And it's time we in California started to push back. The recall of Gavin Newsom, and Gavin, it's happening whether you like it or not, is just our first pushback and our first step to make sure that our state at least gets on a balance track. Understand, nothing here has any balance. Help us. Ooh, I hear the ringing, Orrin. I like that before we roll the break.
That is a ring, and this was the largest donation of the evening so far. He is going to order
I like it. And Orrin, I'm going to ask you.
We're going to pop the cork on the good wine.
We're going to ring it right after. We are on KABC, up and down the coast, from the border to the Oregon border, all over California. It is Friday nights at the French Laundry.
They are more contagious after all, they're mouth breathers. Just tell them it's important to follow all the law. How any violation might kill a grandma. Why you do
AM 790.
KABC News at 7:30. I'm Sharon Reardon. Happy Friday. It was literally a banner day at Dodger Stadium today. Fans were welcomed back to the stands for the first time since the pandemic and watched players receive their 2020 World Series rings and the raising of the championship banner. A man will serve 4 years in prison after he pleaded guilty to poisoning 8 homeless people in Huntington Beach.
William Robert Cable of San Andreas admitted to 13 counts of poisoning, 1 count of inflicting injury on an elder adult, all felonies, and 7 misdemeanor counts of contributing to the delinquency of a minor. He videotaped the transient's reactions as they ate food laced with a chemical twice as strong as pepper spray. The Orange County District Attorney's Office says the victim suffered seizure-like symptoms, difficulty breathing, and vomiting, as well as intense pain in the mouth and stomach. Cable could have faced nearly 20 years in prison if he had been convicted at trial. Kevin Tripp, KABC News.
The market's closed in the green today.
Hey, SoCal, Cash in the Can has created a recycling program that gives you $10 for every used can of R134A auto refrigerant that you cash in. Get location and more details at cashinr134a.com.
News sponsored by cashinr134a.com. KABC SoCal weather, mostly clear this evening. Areas of low clouds and fog after midnight, lows in the upper 40s to mid-50s. Areas of clouds and fog in the morning becoming sunny with highs in the mid-60s to around 70 at the beaches, upper 70s, even low 80s for the inland and valley areas. Currently at 72 degrees in Yorba Linda, 60 degrees in Santa Monica. The 25K weekday payday is back on 790 KABC. Listen every hour weekdays between 8 a.m. and 5:30 for your shot at $100 and possibly $25,000 here on 790 KABC. Traffic coming up next, then more Friday night at the French Laundry.
Are you a gig worker or self-employed? Womply has helped over 100,000 small businesses get a PPP stimulus loan and proudly serves more than 600,000 small businesses across America. Millions of self-employed workers may qualify for up to $41,000 in 100% forgivable loans. So apply today. The program ends soon, and funds are limited. Apply now at womply.com/apply and see if you qualify for a PPP loan. Womply.com/apply. That's WOMPLY.com/apply.
With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, banking with Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like Taylor Swift choosing what to wear.
It's looking kind of chilly out today. I think I'll go with a cardigan.
Yep, even easier than that. And with our top-rated app, you can bank anytime, anywhere, making Capital One an even easier decision. That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
New consumer accounts only. Approval required. Terms apply. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Ben Shapiro.
If you want to go forward as a country, you have to stop lumping every single person together with the worst aspects of the other side.
What does America think? It's brilliant!
Ben Shapiro, weekday afternoons at 3, just before Dan Bongino on AM 790 KABC. It's Friday night at the French Laundry. On the menu tonight, A Better California with Executive Chef Orrin Heatley, Maitre d' Mike Netter, and the wise cashier, Randy Economy.
Welcome back, everybody, to our virtual restaurant where the cuisine is always about California politics and the main entree, the recall of Governor Gavin Newsom. Remember, we need you to contribute to keep this going to recallgavin2020.com. And we've talked tonight about assembly people that are trying to save their posture, but I'm happy to bring on, I'm proud to bring on now, James Gallagher, one of the best assemblymen that I think we have in California. Sir, how are you doing tonight?
Great to be with you guys. I'm doing great.
Fantastic. The good news is we don't have a late tax, so it's great to have you on the show.
All right.
You're kind of Kevin Kiley's partner in crime. I don't know who comes first in the duo, if you will, or I should say partner in Law and Order. And
how about partner in crime fighting?
There you go.
I think it's better to call them a very complicated domestic relationship.
I prefer partners in the Constitution.
I like that.
I mean, look, Kevin and I think we both kind of bring different things to the table, but I think we've made a pretty dynamic duo in taking on this governor, and we're proud to do it. To us, it's really just about standing up for our republic, man, and what this is supposed to be all about. We learned in 8th grade that there's supposed to be a separation of powers and checks and balances, and we just saw that disappear overnight. And ever since then, we've been battling to get our republic back.
When you and Kevin filed, basically, I don't even know the proper legal term. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not even a real radio host. But what did you filed basically against his executive orders and specifically against his election order, correct?
Right. Yeah, we filed. It's called a complaint. We filed a complaint in the Superior Court in Sutter County. And essentially, we focused in on his elections order where he changed 7 different provisions of the elections code overnight. With the stroke of a pen, he just amended our statutes on election law. Actually, I like to point out here lately, he actually shortened the number of early voting days that we had. He did away with publicly noticed meetings with elections rights groups. He also did away with the need to have a polling place in every precinct in California. I mean, imagine if this was Georgia and this was done by elections, by an executive order overnight. You probably would be hearing the uproar, across the nation. But Gavin Newsom did this by executive order last year, and the media said essentially nothing.
Why do you think, besides the obvious reasons, meaning that the media seems to be, shall we say, slightly liberal, how is Gavin, you're in the legislature, we're obviously looking from the outside in. Is it really where Gavin has control of everything? Does he even talk to folks like you? Does he talk to anybody?
It's really sad. I think that the powers that be, the interest groups, obviously the Democratic Party that has the majority in the legislature, and the media, the mainstream media, has largely just gone along with everything that this governor has done. And they've done very little to challenge him. At times, maybe some Democratic legislators have expressed their frustration about how he's spending money and not notifying them. But that's really been the extent of it. And I trace it back to, the media has really started to go much more left wing and essentially say, hey, anything that a left-wing progressive does is sort of okay, and then, is ready to just pounce on anything that a conservative, might do wrong. And we've seen that over and over again for the last, I'm just going to say 5 years, probably even more, longer than that. And certainly when this governor has done things, he apologized for French Laundry. You heard a lot of mainstream journalists, he apologized, let's move on. No, man, this was a serious thing. He shut down businesses, ruined people's livelihoods, and then went and did the very same thing. It's a slap in the face. It's an abuse of power. It's completely disqualifying as someone who is supposed to be a steward of the democratic trust that has been put in his hands.
Yeah, we find it interesting in the recall because it seems like the press just wants to give Gavin a platform for calling us names because we want to exercise our California constitutional right to recall him. Yet, really doesn't bring up any of the deeper issues that Gavin has either caused through these no-bid contracts, is one of my favorite soapboxes,
right, through
the shutdown. I know your partner in fighting crime, how does that sound?
Right.
Was talking about opening an investigation even into some of these, like the Blue Shield no-bid contract for vaccines up and down the state counties were forced to use. Do things like that just hit the legislature like an empty echo because the Democratic Party has such a majority? Or does anything happen? Does anybody hear this?
Yeah, I mean, it just kills me. I mean, I'll give another example. Like, you know, the media is all over DeSantis here lately, who's been an amazing governor, who's clearly done a way better job than Gavin Newsom, and just, you know, trying to lambast him about, you know, contracts with people that donated to him. Where have they been on Gavin Newsom? Because it's been contract after contract, you know, multiple contracts. The latest being, you know, Blue Shield being brought into this as being the one that's going to manage or administer, you know, vaccines, you know, huge donor to Gavin Newsom. And it's just like there's you hardly hear a peep in the mainstream media. You know, they blow up Georgia, who actually passed their election laws through their legislature, you know, went through the proper process and actually expanded voting opportunities. And, you know, and there's all this hubbub about that and nothing about this, you know, what this governor did overnight. And, yeah, I mean, it's very frustrating in your own institution, the legislature, who really was, I mean, they should be enraged that this guy took over their responsibilities, took over their duties, their constitutional duties, and basically has never since apologized for it, never done anything about it. It's almost like, you know, they've been abused and, you know, they've kind of just gone along with it.
Before we even get to, and I'll let my other two hosts ask questions in a second, but before we even get to the status of your complaint, if you will, I'm a little bit confused how Gavin even went before or asked the Assembly and the state legislature to extend his emergency procurement powers for a year. Procurement powers. That's correct, right?
Well, under our current law, he can declare an emergency, and this is a problem, and it's something that actually Kevin Kiley and I have a bill about this year. He can declare an emergency, and essentially the only people that can stop that emergency is he himself if he deems it necessary, although he is supposed to do it at the first opportunity when the emergency is ended. Many of us have argued, well, we've kind of reached that point. And then the legislature has the ability to do it, you know, by a vote in both houses. You know, Kevin and I have brought a bill on that to end the emergency. Senator Melissa Melendez, who I know is joining you as well tonight, has brought legislation on that. It never gets a hearing. The legislature refuses to even consider the prospect of ending his emergency powers. So he actually initiated it. We didn't give it to him. When he declared the emergency under the law, he sort of assumes these emergency powers, but we do have the ability to take it away, and we haven't utilized it.
I guess it just strikes me as bizarre. I think we're one of the few states in the union, and we happen to be the largest, with emergency powers. He also has unlimited, apparently, emergency procurement powers. He can award contracts and do whatever he wants. That doesn't come with every state with emergency powers, correct?
And I think we do need to clarify on the procurement side. So initially when the legislature recessed, it gave him authority up to is $500 million, but he could go up to $1 billion on procuring different things to respond to the emergency. But even within that, he was supposed to give 72 hours notice to the Legislative Budget Committee when he was going to enter into contracts. And so the big one that everybody knows about is the mask deal with BYD. He did not give anybody notice. In fact, the Speaker of the House found out about it minutes before Gavin went on with a national news syndicate announcing that he had reached this deal. And so, no notice given and really no repercussion for that. And look, I put that squarely on the legislature for not pushing back and doing anything about his constant overreaches. And it's been continuous since then. I mean, he's continuously not provided notice, entered into deals, basically without the legislature, and they kind of just keep letting it happen.
Are they that scared of Gavin? Does he have pictures? I mean, I think
it's political. I think ultimately it's political. It's protecting the Democratic Party. It's like, hey, don't make our guy look bad. And it's sort of like everybody rally together, even though they know that the things that he's done is wrong. And that's exactly, I think, what our founders feared, was that, somebody would get so much, be a demagogue, be somebody who, gathered so much power that no one would really question him. And certainly I think that's been the case with Gavin. He's got, the majority party essentially lining up behind him. He has the media lining up behind him. And very few people really willing to call him to task, except for, those of us who've spoken out and ultimately the California people who signed the recall.
Sir, would you mind sticking around a little after the break? Because I would like you to update the lawsuit if you could. Do you have the time?
Sure.
Okay, great.
Yeah, sure.
Because we're going to have Senator Melendez on now at 8:05. We really appreciate it. Orrin?
Yeah, no problem.
Any reason to ring the bell? There you go. Mr. Gallagher, could you please to ask people to contribute to recallgavin2020.com? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
I was waiting
for
everybody
listening to Senator James Gallagher here. Would love it if you would please, donate your precious money to this great cause. Recall Gavin Newsom. And what is the website again?
Recallgavin2020.com.
Recallgavin2020.com.
Words that are music to my ears.
Thank you so much, James.
He's going to be on after the break, Orrin. We're keeping him around. He's got some more to update for us, okay?
All right. Well, give me a second because we have a couple to catch up on.
Catch us up, sir. Catch us up from the kitchen.
Well, we'd like to give a special shout out to Mac up in Auburn. Thank you so much. The largest donation gift so far this evening. And then we also want to thank Lori from Fountain Valley. Lori, thank you very much for your generous donation, as well as Tina from Concord. People are all over the state chipping in to help us fund this fight. Paula from Woodland, God bless. Thank you so much for that generous donation. And Kimberly from Woodland as well. Thank you. We're popular in Woodland today, my old stomping ground, Yolo County.
Well, thank you very much. We're going to roll the break right now. If you want to continue to hear and continue to us to fuel the fight, vote yes to recall on Gavin. Remember, it's Friday nights at the French Laundry, KABC, recallgavin2020.com, up and down the coast, all over California from to each border.
To us, we are the leaders. Voters can't be trusted to be indoor eaters. They are more contagious after all, they're mouth breathers. Just tell them it's important to follow all the law.
Eckrich has a message for everyone listening to the same song over and over and over again. Keep doing it. You know what you like, so why listen to anything else? Eckrich, you do you.
With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, banking with Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids.
Yep, even easier than that. And with our top-rated app, you can bank anytime, anywhere. making Capital One an even easier decision.
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
New consumer accounts only. Approval required. Terms apply. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Are you a gig worker or self-employed? Womply has helped over 100,000 small businesses get a PPP loan. You may qualify for up to $41,000 in 100% forgivable loans. The program ends soon and funds are limited. Apply now at womply.com/apply. That's WOMPLY.com/apply.
Everyone should have a chance to make a difference.
Never let your light shine down.
Connecting good people with great causes is what Project Shine is all about.
Go to KABC.com now to connect with Project Shine. You've only had an appetizer. This is your Friday night at the French Laundry with Chef Orrin Heatley, Maitre d' Mike Netter, and head cashier Randy Economy.
Welcome back, everybody. In this shortened segment, as we roll up to the 8 o'clock hour, I want to let Assemblyman Gallagher finish giving us an update, who's been gracious enough to give us his presence tonight, on the status of his fighting him and Kevin Kiley against the executive order. So what is the status now, sir?
Let me start off here by, again, just thank you guys for everything you've done to push this recall, and thank the grassroots, the people that were on the ground from the very beginning, gathering the petitions, getting out there, and making this possible. I mean, those people are owed a huge debt of gratitude, and I know they've worked hard to get to this point. And we gotta push through here. But on the lawsuit, we obviously did very well in Superior Court. We got the judgment. I felt pretty confident because the law was on our side. It's very clear that the governor doesn't have the power to legislate. Again, I learned that back in 8th grade. So, to me, it was a very simple, straightforward case. We got the judgment. We also got an injunction against the governor, precluding him from doing this again by executive order. Of course, he immediately appealed, and he appealed to the 3rd District Court of Appeals, which is in Sacramento. Since that time, we've been, Kevin and I have been writing more legal briefs, probably we ever wanted to. We put together, I think, some great legal arguments. We've had people join us in that, the Pacific Legal Foundation, for instance, and others who've come to, our defense saying this is the right decision. And then we get to have oral arguments in front of the court on April 20th. So we will be back in court, arguing in front of that court. And again, I feel like the law is on our side. And so if these judges follow the law as they're supposed to do, I think we will be successful.
So what happens exactly when you win? I mean, what does this mean? What does it mean? I guess it's the only thing I think of.
It will ensure that this judgment becomes final. The governor's executive order will have been struck down. But the bigger thing is the injunction will stay in place that precludes him from doing any executive orders that try to amend or change law. That's the duty of the legislature. Only the legislature can do that. So that will stay in place. And then it establishes what we call a precedent. From here on out, there will be a ruling that all courts in California will have to follow, that puts the handcuffs on governors, puts the handcuffs certainly on Gavin Newsom, but any future governor that would want to use tyrannical powers, abuse his powers, and overstep in this way.
I know the political pirate has a question for you. Randy?
I was going to defer to Orrin because I think Orrin was going to jump in.
Okay, we'll let the cook jump in. Our leader, Orrin Heatley.
So, James, on the judge's decision, I think the written decision, I think it was page 8 where they said there was no indication that he was going to stop his continuing to initiate these executive orders, and they laid out a very clear direction. I thought that was really pertinent. If people... It's really, is there an area that they can read the decision that the judge had put out? Because it was really good reading, really informative, and very well constructed.
Yeah, it was an excellent decision. And Judge Sarah Heckman who's been on the bench up here in Sutter County, I think for 8 years now. She wrote that opinion, and it was right on. And as you said, Orrin, it really highlighted, something that we had been arguing actually in court was, because, the governor's attorneys, the attorney generals were trying to say, well, hey, this is just one executive order. It's really no big deal. Well, we pointed out, well, look, he's issued over 54 executive orders at that time, many of them which had changed substantive law. And that was part of the evidence that we introduced into the record. And the judge actually cited to that, saying, look, it doesn't appear that, this emergency power is ending anytime soon. He continues to issue executive orders. I think at that time he had just before this ruling, he had issued the ban on gas-powered vehicles. This is a subject which the legislature has considered already twice and was rejected. It didn't even make it out of committee, and the governor did it overnight by executive order. You can't imagine something more egregious. And so, that was I think a key point of this decision. He's clearly shown that he's going to keep doing this unless he gets checked. And, look, if the legislature's not going to do it, we need the courts to be that check and balance that we all learned about when we learned about this great system of government that we have.
Right now, I think California lacks a check and balance system. With their supermajority, the governor just, he's signing, robo-signing.
Rolling up our sleeves to get things done. That's what we do in Santa Clara County. The COVID vaccine is a great example. It's a safe, effective way to protect yourself and others. And it's free. So roll up your sleeve against COVID-19. At Santa Clara Family Health Plan, we hope you'll get the shot to keep everyone healthy. Learn more at www.scfhp.com/COVIDvax. That's www.scfhp.com/COVIDVAX.
Just implementing the orders where you can't sing in church, the 10 o'clock curfew and stuff like that. Just leave people scratching their head going, what are you thinking, guy?
Right. It's like, look at the ways, man. Yeah. I always keep pointing, because we got to keep prosecuting this case, right? And as we get into the recall, we got to keep reminding people, look, this state, literally half the state has burned down. The lights are not on. People who legitimately have unemployment claims can't get it, yet prisoners and death row inmates are getting it. $30 billion of fraud. This guy, has been a horrible executive, a horrible administrator. There's so many ways that this guy should be recalled, and we got to keep reminding people of it.
He released the CDC fire crews while California was still on fire and burning, and closed the fire camps down.
Right.
This is something that people they're not aware of. This guy is mismanaging our resources. He's making bad decisions, and people are negatively affected. But unless we call him out on it, he wants to ignore all these reasons behind the recall, but he wants to attack the people behind the recall instead. But I want to say that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but when he's recalled and a new governor takes office, they can reverse all of his misaligned or misconstrued executive orders.
Yes, they can. And that might be even another great reason to get a new governor in there to rescind all these executive orders.
Absolutely. If nothing else, they can go in and clean house and just go back. It'd be like an Etch-a-Sketch. Go to the eraser board and just erase everything he's done and start over.
Listen, Assemblyman Gallagher, we appreciate having you on, you taking all this time with us tonight. We're rolling up on the next legislature, if you will. And thank you for all the work. It is so good to know that we do have people in the California legislature fighting for us, the people, like we are doing in the recall.
No problem. I'm glad to do it. It's my duty. And you got a great friend and fighter that's coming on next, and Senator Melissa Melendez, who it's been my honor to serve with. So you guys have a great night. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very, very much. Everybody out there, we're starting to roll the break in about 30 seconds here. Want to remind you, it's Friday nights at the French Laundry. It's going to be a very exciting hour next hour, but we again need your help. We want you to help contribute to recallgavin2020.com. Help Orrin ring that bell. Call us at 1-800-222-5222. Call us if you want at 626-506-0292 if you would like to help us fund the show privately. Let's do what we can to take our state back everywhere up and down California. Friday nights at the French Laundry on KABC.
Forget that I had Bandolindo gatherings. Just a prime example of a really big hypocrisy. You don't understand, we're not like other creatures. Rules do not apply to us, we are the leaders. Borders can't be trusted to be indoor eaters. They are more contagious after all, they're mouth breathers. Just tell them it's important to follow all the law. How any violation might kill a grandma. Why you do what you want, even pardon in-laws. Mr. Mayor, how would you prefer your foie gras? Donated? Sir, we saw you at a party.
It wasn't me.
Eating at the French Laundry.
It wasn't me.
You even had the clam chowder.
It wasn't me.
Sir, we got you on camera.
It wasn't me.
Our only agenda is giving you a voice. KABC, Los Angeles, Orange County. A cumulative. Get it right.
KABC. KABC News at 8 o'clock. I'm Sharon Reardon. Happy Friday. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell says packing the Supreme Court with more justices would delegitimize those already sitting on the bench. In a statement, the Kentucky Republican says President Biden creating a commission to study the impact of doing so is, quote, a direct assault on our nation's independent judiciary, unquote. He also quoted the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who said 9 seems like a good number. California lawmakers are pressuring Governor Gavin Newsom to issue a statewide drought emergency declaration. Senator Andreas Borges says it's a water crisis.
This is an opportunity for California to step up and not wait for the zenith of the problem to reveal itself and take corrective action right now.
Declaring a state of emergency means Newsom can relax environmental and regulatory rules, which would allow the water supply to be transferred more easily between users. Huntington Beach police are planning a ramped-up presence Sunday in the event of a potential square-off between attendees at a planned White Lives Matter rally and counter-protesters. The rally, which is believed to be part of a nationally coordinated group of white supremacist protests across the country at various cities. Sunday's rally is organized by the Loyal White Knights. And Queen Elizabeth will now enter an 8-day period of mourning following the death of her husband, Prince Philip. The 94-year-old monarch will refrain from carrying out any royal duties, and affairs of state will be put on pause. After that, the official royal mourning is expected to last 1 month. KABC Sports, the Dodgers welcome fans to the stands for the first time in a year and beat the Nationals 1-0, and the Angels beat the Blue Jays 7-1, and that's sports on the home of the USC Trojans. The markets closed in the green. The Dow gained 297 points. NASDAQ picked up 70, and the S&P 500 rose by 31. KABC SoCal weather. Mostly clear skies this evening, then areas of low clouds and fog. Rolling in after midnight, lows in the upper 40s to low 50s. Areas of low clouds and fog again in the morning, then sunny skies with highs in the mid-60s to around 70 at the beaches, upper 70s, even low 80s for the inland and valley areas. Currently, it's 68 degrees in Placentia, 69 in Pasadena, and it's 72 degrees in Pacoima. Listen for your shot at $25,000, the national keyword in the 25K weekday payday contest, weekdays between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. on 790 KABC. Now let's get a quick check on your SoCal traffic and stay with us for more Friday Night at the French Laundry coming up next.
My name is Alana. I was 6 years old and I got diagnosed with cancer. I come to San Diego for treatment.
After her last treatment on December the 4th, I was just kind of having a conversation with her, letting her know, Alana, you did awesome. I mean, so proud of you. Like, you fought, you accepted whatever was happening, you went with it. And her words to me were, Mommy, thank you so much for helping me get through this. She said, I could not have done this without you. This was very hard. And I couldn't even hold my tears because when I think about it, I would not have been able to get through this without St. Jude. And so once we became part of the St. Jude family, everything was okay. Thank you, St. Jude, for helping me get her through this because I wouldn't have been able to do it without them.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
KABC has dependable traffic right now. Traveling in Baldwin Park, if you're on the 605 southbound just before Ramona Boulevard, there's a crash involving a car that went over the right shoulder of the embankment. You'll see heavy looky-loo delays from Lower Azusa Road. Anaheim on the 91 westbound at the 57, a wreck there is taking away the right lane. It's a stop-and-go ride from Glassell Street. And in Temecula, if you're on the 15 northbound, that's going to be at Temecula Parkway. A wreck there has the right lane blocked, so you're slowly crawling from Mission Road. That's dependable traffic. I'm Pedro Moreno, AM 790 KABC.
With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, banking with Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids.
Yep, even easier than that. And with our top-rated app, you can bank anytime, anywhere, making Capital One an even easier decision.
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
New consumer accounts only. Approval required. Terms apply. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Our spot for a smorgasbord of information from RecallGavin2020.com in a tasty, non-caloric, gluten-free bite. It's Friday night at the French Laundry with Chef Orrin Heatley, maitre d' Mike Netter, and head cashier Randy Economy.
All the leaves are brown.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to Friday Nights at the French Laundry, our virtual restaurant of California political cuisine, with the main entree is always the recall of Governor Gavin Newsom. Orrin, you've been ringing the bell a lot tonight. I like that.
We have. We had a lot of orders for the chef to prepare tonight.
That's right. And remember, this show is listener-sponsored, so we can keep our voice going all up and down Southern California. Now, I warned everybody in the first hour, whatever you do tonight, don't order entree 663. And I'm pleased to have a great state senator, Melissa Melendez, on the phone right now, who is tweeting about that very subject today.
Well, hey, guys, how are you?
Well, I'm doing good now that you're on the show. Orrin, how are you? Tell her how you're doing.
Melissa, it's wonderful to hear from you, and I'm so glad that you're able to join us tonight.
Well,
Melissa,
I want to be here.
You got Randy too. Go ahead, Randy.
And Melissa, I'm going to hold you personally accountable because you're my state senator. And so I will not run through the parking lot trying to chase you down to pay your bill.
Actually, Randy, she is paid ahead. Melissa gave us a whopping check that has helped move this recall forward when we needed it most desperately. And Melissa,
we love her.
We have a debt of gratitude for you. So the meal's on us tonight.
You guys are doing the Lord's work, that's for sure. I hope everybody appreciates what you're doing out there, because it's not easy what you're trying to pull off. It really isn't. But, you also have what they're doing in Sacramento working against you as well. I know you mentioned SB 663. So that was quite a little nugget of discovery today. I'm convinced now they'll do pretty much anything to win. It doesn't matter what it is, they will do it.
Why do you?
Yeah, but we have the power of the people behind us. This movement is what the country was founded on. This is the power of the people, by the people, and for the people. And we are going to turn government back to the people and make it to where the people in office are responsive and accountable to the people they serve once again.
Amen to that. Amen to that. I mean, I'm just personally really excited that the coronavirus goes away on June 15th. I mean, who would have thought such a miracle would take place? But it has, because
right
Gavin Newsom
after
has,
school's out. Shocker.
Right.
Well,
Yeah, isn't it great?
When we hit the 2.1 million signature mark, it was amazing how everything just opened up automatically. It was it was
weird?
It was a miracle, Senator.
Weird how that happens. I just saw an article. I don't remember which publication it was, but they were talking about the overlap of donors to Gavin Newsom that correlates with the number of no-bid contracts that were awarded. That is another interesting little nugget, because it's funny how that works in politics, where somebody gives you a big fat check and then you get a no-bid contract.
How does the state Senate, I mean, I know how you probably feel about it, but doesn't the state Senate find this just a wee bit embarrassing, if you will, that things like this go on? Are they that afraid of Gavin, or do most of them, outside of a few of you, not care? I'm always kind of confused by this.
Yeah, I don't know. Some people shake their heads at it, but very few people will speak publicly about it. Certainly not my colleagues across the aisle. And I don't know if it's because they're afraid of him. I really don't know. I know that generally people don't want to ruffle the feathers of the governor because they have bills that will end up on his desk and they want him to sign them. But, at the end of the day, you have to be able to put your head down on your pillow at night and know that you did what was right for the people you represent, not what's, right for the governor, or not what's right for your campaign bank account. That's what we're sent to Sacramento to do, or Washington, or, wherever else, city council. Your job is to represent the people and listen to them and respond to them. And you know what? You're not always going to disagree. That's okay. But by God, they should know that you're at least listening to them. And I just wonder how many people in Sacramento actually listen to their constituents, like actually read the emails that are sent to them, actually, respond, because I would guess it's not that many.
That's what really... Go ahead, Randy.
I just wanted, this week, it was interesting, the California Democratic Latino Caucus, which is a group of the members of the state legislature from both the Assembly and the Senate side, who are from Latino backgrounds, came out and endorsed the governor, and came out against the recall in a very bizarre, farcical, Zoom press conference. But the funny thing is earlier this week there was a new poll that was issued that shows that 44% of Latino voters in California support the recall. So isn't it ironic that the Democratic members of the legislature, immediately within 24 hours after that poll was released, that they hold this press conference?
Yeah, that seems a little conspicuous, doesn't it? I mean, one thing I've learned after getting to Sacramento is, I don't know, something happens where they think, okay, now I'm in office, now I'm in charge. And that's really backwards. It's the people who are in charge. The people send you to Sacramento to be their voice. They're in charge. And you are, the modem through which they communicate. But we've got too many people up there who seem to think, well, now that I'm elected and you'll never get me out of office, I'm going to do what I want to do, regardless of how many times you email me or call my office and say, don't do this or please do that. Doesn't matter. It's whatever their personal feelings are. And more, it's all about, the virtue signaling and the going along with whatever is popular that day within the Democratic Party. And it's not helping Californians, I can tell you that.
It's not. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just so fascinating that there's a lot of name calling in the caucuses and all these things going back and forth. And it's almost like the Democratic Party and Newsom they seem appalled that 35% or so of the 2.1 million signatures would be from their party. Like, it's an affront to them. Like, we must be these really evil people in a lab doing something. And then they come out with this 663 bill saying, we get to know who all the signers are. It just seems strange,
Yeah, there's a lot of tribalism that goes on, certainly. But, you mentioned the Latino caucus. I just wanted to make sure I pointed out to your listeners that the only people allowed in the Latino caucus, regardless of your heritage, are Democrats. They do not allow Republicans to be part of that caucus. So just so you know.
The crazy thing is that there's I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
No. Go ahead. It's hard on these calls. Go ahead, Randy.
The California Democratic Party and the legislature, they have how many caucuses? They have the LGBT caucus, they have the African American caucus, they have the a Native American caucus, they have the Latino caucus, they have the Progressive caucus, on and on and on and on and on. Asian American Pan Islander caucus, and every one of these caucuses have held press conferences denouncing the recall and calling us racist. Literally on every one of their press conferences. And it is just so farcical, so comical, and we know when they're going to be holding one of these types of press conferences because our phones blow up literally within 3 minutes after the press conferences are held. So I just make sure that we got to stop that.
Well, that's the modus operandi, is to make sure that the media plays along and paints every Republican as some sort of xenophobe, racist, homophobic type of person. That's been the mantra from day one, and they just keep running with that. And frankly, the media helps them, get that message across. But I think people are now, after this year-long shutdown, are saying, okay, hold on, you know what? It wasn't the Republicans who shut my business down. It wasn't the Republicans who kept me from going to work. It wasn't the Republicans who can't get me my unemployment check. That's not them. That's you guys who are in charge. So I think people are starting to see things for what they really are. And you know what? I get the emails from Democrats all the time about the recall, about how unhappy they are with what Gavin Newsom is doing, particularly with the schools. I mean, people are really pissed off about what's going on with the schools. You do not want to mess with parents out there of kids who really need to get back into the classroom and who are struggling. And that is not partisan. So I don't know what kind of polling Gavin Newsom's doing, and I don't know what kind of yes men he has surrounded himself with, but he better pay attention because there's more than Republicans who are unhappy with him.
Yeah, it's not about the polls. It's not about the money. When is Gavin Newsom and his crew going to get? It's about the people of California. As we start to roll off, Senator Melendez, I just like saying that. Is there anything you want to add or tell everybody in our audience?
Well, I want to tell everybody, number one, please make sure you remember to vote in the recall because the job's not done. Number two, if you can spare some money to send to the effort, please do that. No amount is too small. Number three, if any volunteer efforts, open up where you can help out, please do that because it's one thing to get the ball rolling and it's something entirely different to make sure you get it through the hoop. And we've got to get this ball through the hoop. I hate to talk in cliches, but this is too important. And it's a huge opportunity. Opportunities like this don't come around very often. And frankly, Gavin Newsom, he handed it to us. So I'm hoping that the people pull through on this. I'm hoping that even though, the governor's letting everybody go back to work and back to school and all that other stuff, that they don't forget that there's a reason why they had to wait over a year to do those things. And there ought to be some consequences for it.
I know you will help us about it. Orrin, you've got to ring the bell. Tell her order's up.
Her order is up, and thank you so much. And let me...
great.
You got it. You're awesome, too. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and I'm trying to get to my thank you very much for Joan in Vacaville. God bless you, and thank you so much for your generous donation.
Ready, Orrin?
Joan.
Are you ready for the number?
I'm ready.
What is the number to call into the show? 222-5222. Thank you. Remember, we're listener-sponsored KABC. Recall Gavin2020.com. Email us. Do everything you can to help us take this state back. Friday nights at the French Laundry.
Really big hypocrisy. You don't understand, we're not like other creatures. Rules do not apply to us, we are the leaders. Borders can be
KABC has dependable traffic right now. If you're in Hollywood on the 101 southbound coming across Western Avenue, you'll see brake lights, and that's a busy drive until you get to about the 110. Anaheim on the 91 westbound at the 57. A crash there has the right lane blocked. That's causing some stop-and-go delays from Glassell Street. And if you're traveling along the 15 northbound in Temecula, once you get to Temecula Parkway, you'll see a crash. That has the right lane blocked. Your drive is jammed from Mission Road. That's dependable traffic. I'm Pedro Moreno, AM 790 KABC.
When it comes to what you drive, there are 40 million reasons to go electric. Like never stopping at a gas station again, never having to pay for gas again, and never having to get an oil change ever again. Getting cash discounts and incentives is a good reason. There's also the rush you get when you step on the accelerator. EVs are fast and fun to drive. Then there's how easy it is to charge up. Just plug in when you get home and charge overnight while you sleep. Or plug into one of over 70,000 chargers spread all across the state of California. And now you can drive 200 to 400 miles on one charge. But most of all, when you go electric, you'll be driving a car with zero emissions, which means cleaner air and a cleaner earth for everyone. And right now, there are over 60 models of amazing new electric cars, minivans, and SUVs to fit every lifestyle. And they start under $20,000. Find the one that's right for you at electricforall.org.
The 25K weekday payday on AM 790 KABC is back. Listen for the national keyword between 8 and 6 for your shot at $100 and possibly much more. 25,000 more. Full rules at KABC.com. You've only had an appetizer. This is your Friday night at the French Laundry with Chef Orrin Heatley, maitre d' Mike Netter, and head cashier Randy Economy.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to our virtual restaurant, a short segment. We had two longer segments with State Assembly Person James Gallagher, State Senator Melissa Melendez. There are good people in the California legislature, just not enough. Orrin, do you have some breaking news?
Yes, I do.
Break it to us, or we're going to take a couple callers for the hard break. Ring the bell and tell me what's going on from the kitchen.
We have Gavin Newsom, supported by anti-vax extremist.
What?
What?
Gavin Newsom, supported by Crystal Solorzano, who is a self-professed anti-vax extremist. I mean, she has been outed for making several Instagram posts which are absolutely false and have been debunked by medical experts and things like that regarding vaccines, and all the way back to May 6th, 2020. So, the governor has done a really good job to try and paint our movement with a broad brush. We've done our best to avoid that. We've done our best to avoid intertwining national politics and what's going on in the White House with what's going on in California. This recall is between the people of California and their governor. But this governor has gone outside of California to seek the support and help from politicians who are out of state and out of touch with what's going on here at home. And he's gone, overboard to try and paint us with a broad brush as far as being anti-vaxxers, anti-mask extremists. But yet he received $20,000 donation from this Crystal Solorzano, who is the owner and operator of many, many elderly care homes, and it's called Renew Health. And she's the CEO and owner. And, you just have to wonder, is she one of the recipients of the COVID sick patients who were placed in these homes as, the coronavirus ravaged our care homes, the nursing homes? And I think it's been said that 41% of California coronavirus deaths were from elderly care facilities.
Yeah,
it's something that needs to be discussed. He took donations from this lady, and she runs these homes. And did they cross pollinate benefits as far as her giving donations and receiving money from the state or federal government through the state to house patients? We don't know, but what we do know is that healthcare providers in these homes and the patients both died as a result of the coronavirus. And I think it just serves for further investigation.
Well, it does. In the article that, in fact, you guys need, everybody out there, really take a look. Aaron Mendelson, I want to give him a shout out because I talked this week, said, title this
We should
article.
have Aaron on the show. I just want to say that right now. I want to invite him to the show.
I'm going to get a hold of him. We're going to have him on. But hold one second. Here's the headline. Immediate jeopardy, death and neglect inside a troubled California nursing home chain. And when we talk about people fighting for the poor, look, no one. California has 1,200 nursing homes, and it's probably the worst. And this is, by the way, the quote of state officials. We're the least watched over, least regulated, least controlled state for watching and taking care of our elderly. Thanks for the 668 bill protecting your posteriors against getting recalled. Would you pay attention to our elderly people? Would you pay attention to these homes? I want to remind you, Gavin Newsom, this is really personal with me, everybody out there, really personal. I want to remind you that people haven't been able to visit their relatives in nursing homes for about a year. No one knows what's going on. Yet in this article, Crystal Solorzano, who owns 26% of these facilities, not only donated, who's an admitted anti-vaxxer, take that, Gavin, but there's a fine picture of her and Gavin together in the article. Isn't that great? Gavin Newsom, why don't you take a look, not necessarily at your house, but start watching out for the people of California? It's time. This is the reason that we need to recall, and this is why we're here saying keep this voice going. Gentlemen, Randy and Orrin, I'm actually mean. Do you guys mind if we take a call right now?
I think we have a caller waiting.
Gina,
let's do it.
Oxnard, how you doing?
Hi, Mike. Hi, Orrin. Hi, Randy.
Gina.
Gina
Hey,
Bacon,
Gina.
Oxnard. We have rights.
I wouldn't know that. I live in California, Gina.
So this is the laundry. So I get to order a dish of a patriotic governor. My side dish, can we please help the kids? And then a full glass of God. Thank you, sir.
Orrin will order that up. Now, you asked if Gavin could pull a fast one, Gina, and at least it says on my little screen here. What exactly
I
did you
did.
mean by that?
What I meant by that is, so I'm returning from personal time off, and so I'm addressing all my patrons' questions. And the number one thing that they're coming at me is word on the street is that Gavin can step down and put a replacement in for himself. Is that possible?
He's too arrogant and cocky to do that. I just have to say, you know what? He walks in a room and he pops up his collar like a preppy back in high school, and I think he's just too full of himself to think that far ahead or to think that strategically as far as, the better good of the party versus his own political career. He's focused on one thing and one thing only, and that's his fast track to the White House, and we are going to derail that train right here and now.
Yeah, and I want to stress, if he resigns, sorry, Randy, the lieutenant governor would take over. I mean, he can't, pick his next successor.
There you go. So those are the words I'm looking for in the scenario.
Well, the fact is, either way, if he resigned, it's still a win on our part. We get Eleni Koulonakis, and she is an intelligent woman and, measured in her steps. where this governor is reckless and loose with what he does with the resources in California.
Okay.
First of all, it's never going to happen, and I'll tell you why. There are too many people, too many special interests that have already put in millions and millions of dollars into keeping Gavin Newsom in as governor, whether it be the Democratic Governors Association, whether it be individual labor unions, whether it be political action committees, whether it be the California Democratic Party. The list goes on and on and on. Gavin Newsom is going to have to spend, and his people, his political action committees are going to have to spend probably $100 to $200 million to keep his seat during this election. And everybody needs to know that. And, we're here working on pennies and nickels and dollars right now with the official campaign here. And we've been successful for one reason. And it's because of the people and lots of people and people like you, Gina. And so regardless of what they want to do, and how many campaign consultants does Newsom have on board now? I think the last I counted was 14. Because 14 paid consultants. He has a war room. They are absolutely bombastic. They're throwing everything and the kitchen sink out of us. They're trying to paint us as being right-wing extremists and anti-gay and anti-Latino and everything they can. And it's so farcical. It's so dangerous. And we got to stop it. And we're going to stop it.
Excellent. I know. I love being part of it. I'm stopping it with you guys.
Gina, thank you for calling. We really appreciate all the work you've done.
Gina, God bless.
God bless you. Orrin, it's about that time where we're going to say, contribute. Keep Friday nights at the French Laundry going. If you want to do commercials, do a block within a block. Call 626-506-0292. We're going to come up after the break with a very special caller. In the meantime, go to recallgavin2020.com.
Is Bianca on the line?
I maybe hold my don't steal my thunder.
Good. Looking forward to talking with her.
Yeah, she's coming in, but hold on. In the meantime, we've got to have a little business by KABC. Friday nights at the French Laundry. Recall Gavin2020.com. Make Orrin ring that bell.
Even pardon in-laws. Mr. Mayor, how would you prefer your foie gras? Donate it? Sir, we saw you at a party.
It wasn't me.
Eating at the French Laundry.
It wasn't me.
AM 790.
KABC. KABC News at 8:30. I'm Sharon Reardon. Happy Friday. Calling it long overdue, County Supervisor Janice Hahn says the county will return a scenic parcel of Manhattan Beach over to the descendants of a black couple, Willa and Charles Bruce, who operated a beach resort a century ago that was ultimately seized by the city. Lawmakers say the first step towards returning Bruce's beach to the family means enacting a bill, SB 796, that will make it possible for LA County to transfer the land. Today, that parcel is worth around $72 million. Two of LA's iconic outdoor music venues are opening up real soon.
The Los Angeles Philharmonic Association says the Hollywood Bowl and the Ford will reopen for the 2021 season. It'll start with 4 free concerts for healthcare workers, first responders, and essential workers as a gesture of thanks for their work during the pandemic. Expect information about tickets for the general public next month with the first concerts in late May. Kevin Tripp, KABC News.
The markets closed in the green. The Dow gained 297. NASDAQ picked up 70 points, and the S&P 500 gained 31. KABC SoCal weather, mostly clear for now, then areas of low clouds and fog in the overnight, lows in the upper 40s to low 50s, areas of low clouds and fog again in the morning, then sunny skies. Highs in the mid-60s to low 70s at the beaches, upper 70s, even low 80s for the inland and valley areas. Currently, it's 66 degrees in Orange, 69 in Encino, and it's 60 degrees in El Segundo. The 25K weekday payday is back on 790 KABC. Listen every hour weekdays between 8 a.m. and 5:30 for your shot at $100 and possibly $25,000 right here on 790 KABC. Traffic is next, and then more Friday night at the French Laundry coming up.
KABC has dependable traffic right now. If you're on the 105 eastbound in South LA, that's going to be just before Vermont Avenue. You'll see a crash that's along the right shoulder. It's involving a car that hit a chain link fence, so watch for looky-loo delays from about Imperial Highway. Some good news in Anaheim on the 91 westbound. That's at the 57. An earlier wreck that had the right lane blocked is now over to the right shoulder. Traffic is recovering from Glasell Street. And to Temecula, there's still a crash on the 15 northbound at Temecula Parkway. Taking away the right lane, you'll see stop-and-go traffic from Mission Road. That's dependable traffic. I'm Pedro Moreno, AM 790 KABC.
With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, banking with Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like Taylor Swift choosing what to wear.
It's looking kind of chilly out today. I think I'll go with a cardigan.
Yep, even easier than that. And with our top-rated app, you can bank anytime, anywhere, making Capital One an even easier decision. That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
New consumer accounts only. Approval required. Terms apply. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Eckrich has a message for everyone listening to the same song over and over and over again. Keep doing it. You know what you like, so why listen to anything else? Eckrich, you do you.
When it comes to what you drive, there are 40 million reasons to go electric. Like never stopping at a gas station again, never having to pay for gas again, and never having to get an oil change ever again. Getting cash discounts and incentives is a good reason. There's also the rush you get when you step on the accelerator. EVs are fast and fun to drive. Then there's how easy it is to charge up. Just plug in when you get home and charge overnight while you sleep. Or plug into one of over 70,000 chargers spread all across the state of California. And now you can drive 200 to 400 miles on one charge. But most of all, when you go electric, you'll be driving a car with zero emissions, which means cleaner air and a cleaner earth for everyone. And right now, there are over 60 models of amazing new electric cars, minivans, and SUVs to fit every lifestyle. And they start under $20,000. Find the one that's right for you at electricforall.org.
Fighting the liberal establishment for you. The Armstrong and Getty Show, mornings 6 to 10 on AM 790 KABC. It's Friday night at the French Laundry. On the menu tonight, a better California with executive chef Orrin Heatley, maitre d' Mike Netter, and the wise cashier Randy Economy.
Welcome back, everybody, to our virtual restaurant about California politics. Before we bring our next special caller on, I want to explain why all sides are really against Gavin. Don't believe what you read in the press. Orrin made a very important reference